It's Tuesday, May 20th. This is kind of an update, SPY update from yesterday, and then a pre-opening kind of comment here about what's unfolding. It's about 15 minutes before trading begins. You could see yesterday on the daily chart, we had a 3-bar to the upside, and we kind of knew that was unfolding after the gap down, which had an opportunity maybe to sell off into last week's rally, but immediately moved up. If we look at the 15-minute chart, after the gap down, taking out the lows of the day, the first bar moved up, and then it actually followed through past the midpoint of the prior day. So I discussed how I bought some calls on this consolidation, expecting it to take out the highs of yesterday. We kind of got up there, and then kind of at that point just settled in for a nice green day to the upside. In terms of the bigger picture, as much as I would love to maybe start to look for a sell to fill this gap in here, and it could happen today, you never know, I still am looking at the weekly and monthly charts and seeing this target up here to this 597 kind of area. If we look at it on the chart here, it's kind of this upper blue line. That's still the target we're trying to reach. On the monthly chart, with still about 10 days to go in the month, on this 2-up month, we're still looking for that target and maybe even higher. So it's possible we try to gap down or move lower, but until we really get the confirmation of it, which I'll show you what those levels are, you still buys to the upside. However, after a 3-day today, brought in the buying, it's not really, again, an actionable signal to the upside. The actionable signal to the upside after a 3-day would be a 1-bar in here, and then a continuation higher, maybe a 2 down, 2 up in line, but this one was a 3-bar to the upside, so it's more of a momentum bar. So if we get another up, you kind of expect that high to be tested, I guess. So since we're gapping down a little bit, we should probably test those highs at a minimum. It could set up kind of a 3, 2 up, 2 down reversal signal. So we'll see if maybe we get up to our targets and that reversal happens later in the week. I guess it's possible, since we're making, in the very short run, lower lows, higher highs, we can gap down today and go to lower lows and start going sideways in this area. But until we break below the open of the week right here, the red line, until we really even get through the midpoint of the prior week, which would be close to that open, or the lows of yesterday, if we get down there, this weekly chart still remains green. So those are the reference points. Should we gap down today, we need to really follow through and turn this weekly chart red below the midpoint of that week to get maybe a 3-bar on the weekly chart into this gap. So you're not really expecting that. If we look at the 15-minute chart, between the blue lines is the range this morning. We'll see how price opens. If we open up somewhere, first bar in between the blue lines and then start up, you kind of expect the highs of yesterday to be tested, and we still have this upper target. If we move down, it's almost like you're still waiting for take out this liquidity here and maybe a red to green move towards those upper targets. If it stays red below here, you could try a sell trade and see if it becomes like lower lows, higher highs, maybe lower lows down here. You have to get that follow through, in other words, to really take out the midpoint of yesterday and ultimately yesterday's low, and see what happens at that point, if we do get a weak opening. But we're still biased to the upside, even though it's not really an actionable signal today. It's more just momentum signals like we're getting here. Actually, that's why some of the better trades are, since we have momentum in play, the failures moving down, kind of like the gap yesterday that resumed to the upside. So today, with a little bit of a gap down, maybe if we take out this liquidity, look for the red to green, and be nimble on any sell trades, that and look for that follow through, really, to take out the lows of this range down here. We got to get through the open of the week to really stay negative for the rest of the week. And finally, if we start in here and go up a little bit, then the follow through higher, let's assume it could target yesterday's high and the pre-market highs to start, and know that this is the ultimate target up here to start, and then we monitor from there. So that's kind of what's unfolding. Yesterday was a good day to the buy side after we had some possible negative news over the weekend, but that turned out to be nothing too important. Market resumed higher. Trend is obviously up. Targets are still up. So we're just going to watch opening price action, as always, relative to this bar. Knowing we're coming to kind of the end, I drew this megaphone here for a long time. Well, you can see it more on the weekly chart, where we're making lower lows, and then I anticipated as we were coming up through this area to make higher highs. We've done that. We're near the top of that area. So, at any moment here, we can get a little pull back into this gap, but we kind of know how price has to unfold in order to do that. And there's still a slight next target that we're very close to up here. And quite frankly, maybe we even head higher up there, if it wants to continue. So that's what we're going to find out today. Is it going to be a turnaround Tuesday, so to speak, to the downside, or is it just going to be a pause here at the open and a continuation to some of those targets above?